coldest night that West Michigan has ever seen, or one of them. The dangerously frigid temperatures have everybody in their frozen grip tonight. Even more snow, and now the wind will be added to that, making a recipe for disaster on the roads this weekend. We begin with News Channel 3's Tyler Brummett live in Kalamazoo. And Tyler, you're on 131 southbound, about 94. What are you seeing?
Yeah, hi there, Andy. Good evening to you. I'll tell you what, right here where we are at now, the roads are not too bad, but you can kind of tell here from this shot that it is difficult to see in some areas. I know when we were getting onto US 131 off of Stadium Drive, there were some areas where you really had to give yourself a little bit of extra room between you and the car in front of you. And that's really what we've seen throughout the day, kind of this hit and miss game. You can see actually in front of us right now, there is a car that is off in the ditch. There are some flashing lights off in the distance. It might be a bit difficult for you to see, but again, some areas not too bad. Others, though, have been quite the challenge. Whiteout conditions in parts of West Michigan Friday. Crews responding to slide-offs because of snowy, ice-covered roads. It wasn't an easy day for drivers in Allegan County.
For us, some of the bigger challenges are visibility, drifting snow, being we're a lakeshore community.
Sheriff Frank Baker says his team has been busy. He tells me the conditions are slowing emergency response times. Baker says some roads are in such bad shape, you shouldn't drive on them.
We have roads on the west side of the county that are drifted shut. They're out working, doing the best they can to try to clear those roads and open those up. But it is challenging during these types of storms.
And making the cleanup even more challenging is the sub-zero cold. Wind chills making it feel much, much colder.
After a week of snow falling pretty much continuously, small breaks here and there, our operators are ready for a nap.
Michigan Department of Transportation spokesperson Nick Sharippa says their job is much harder when temperatures drop this low.
Salt is completely ineffective, and it actually makes the problem worse. So we don't use salt when it gets this cold.
Both Sharippa and Baker are wanting you to take extra steps to be careful.
If you don't have to travel, maybe delay those plans, maybe reschedule. But obviously, I know there's always going to be situations where you have no choice but to travel in this type of weather.
All right, so back here live now again on US 131 heading south. I'll tell you what, just a few moments ago, we saw another vehicle off in a ditch. So again, you're going to want to give yourself some extra time. And I'll tell you what, it seems like that these road conditions are starting to get worse here on US 131. So if you do head out, please be safe. Obviously, you'll want to make sure that you are giving yourself plenty of following distance. And again, you see here as we are slowing down just a little bit, a vehicle getting in front of us, plenty of room between us and them. And that is really what you want in a situation like this. Now, both MDOT and the Sheriff's Office tells me that crews will be out all weekend doing what they can to keep the roads safe. And Sharippa says there's another issue that MDOT, cities, and counties are dealing with right now. We'll tell you what that is tonight on the news at 6. Live right now from US 131, Tyler Brummett, News Channel 3.
All right, Tyler, thank you. It is 1 degree as we look live over downtown Kalamazoo on this Friday. We've made it to the weekend, but it's off to a brutally cold start, and these frigid temps are expected to hang around. Here's meteorologist Will Haney in the Weather Alert Center with a look at the forecast. We don't say it's one out very often.
Yeah, and in a few hours, that'll feel warm compared to what we're going to be dealing with by around tomorrow morning. It's going to be, yeah, I know, right? Well below zero to start the weekend in most cases. And you can see right now the frozen tundra that is the Black River Channel in South Haven and then side by side with Vicksburg. This is kind of telling, right? So we have some pockets of lake effect snow that are still out there, especially in some of our lakeshore communities where you see these intermittent little bursts that can drop visibility down to about a mile. Whereas if you're out of one of those, you see even some peaks of sun by contrast in Vicksburg. Of course, arguably bigger story than the snow is just this brutal cold. It's 1 degree in Kalamazoo, but it feels like -15. It feels 11 below zero right now in South Haven, feels 17 below zero in Battle Creek. At times, these wind chills, especially earlier in the day, were below -20 degrees. So that speaks to kind of the magnitude of this cold air that we're dealing with and will be dealing with for another 24 hours. There's that lake effect I was talking about. It is not quite as impressive as earlier in the day. Although that being said, we could still see some minor accumulation, some snow-coated roads persist through the late evening. So like you heard from some of our area officials, our roadways are still going to be very snowy through late tonight, and that salt's just really not doing anything, and they're not even putting it down, as you heard. Our winter weather advisory continues through 7 p.m., so just an hour left on that. We'll see if they extend that, though, any longer for some of our lakeshore communities. And then, of course, we have our cold weather-related alerts. We have an extreme cold warning farther north. That's for feels like temperatures as cold as -25 to -30, this continuing through tomorrow morning, and then a cold weather advisory farther south. We're kind of splitting hairs here, but difference of just about 5 degrees. As we look at Saturday, we'll start off well below zero, again, with a wind chill down to about -20 by around 8 a.m. By the afternoon, though, we'll warm into the balmy single digits. And as we look ahead to your weekend, 12 degrees on Sunday comes with a system snow, which we'll tell you more about, and how much accumulation we'll expect out of that in minutes. Andy.
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, thanks. Well, the best thing you can do in this kind of cold is not be in the cold at all. However, there are lots of folks who simply have to be outdoors because their jobs don't stop when the temperatures drop. Tonight, our Ava Ray shows us how essential workers are coping with this Arctic air.
With temperatures well below freezing, most people are staying inside, but work doesn't stop for everyone. Consumers Energy crews are still outside, making sure your power and heat stay on during this sub-zero freeze.
Everybody who works for our company and that of our customers really is our top priority.
Wheeler says crews are trained for extreme weather, taking extra care to limit their time outside and rotate shifts when necessary.
If the lights go out, if there's any issue with natural gas service, we know it's a priority, particularly for people on cold days like this, that we can restore that service promptly.
From essential workers keeping us safe to a different type of delivery. At this local flower shop, deliveries are still going out because moments don't stop for weather.
At Embody Flowers in Kalamazoo, deliveries are still heading out the door. A sound signaling another arrangement's on its way. The family-owned shop has been in business for 45 years, and owner-artist Lil Zuika says weather has never been a reason to stop.
It's our job. If someone wants to send a greeting or an expression of sympathy or gratitude, we're going to get them there no matter what. From funerals to anniversaries to birthdays, artist says these important moments can't be put on hold. We basically say you're not in a hurry. Be courteous, be cautious, and knock on wood, we've done extremely well. No accidents, nobody's gotten hurt on the job. Whether it's keeping the lights on or delivering a message that matters, their work continues for you, even in the coldest conditions. In Kalamazoo, Ava Ray, News Channel 3.
Well, as Will mentioned, the snow is winding down, but the bitter cold is here through the weekend, and emergency crews in West Michigan are getting ready for an uptick in visits as temperatures continue to fall. Tonight, News Channel 3's Tiana Barnes has the details.
A Beacon Health medical director says his department has already seen ER patients with cold-related issues like frostbite and hypothermia. Dr. Mark Miller says infants and the elderly are the most at risk in these extreme temperatures, as well as those with chronic medical problems like diabetes and heart disease. He's also warning about the signs that your body isn't adjusting to the cold well.
Your fingers or toes feel strange, they're swollen, they feel hard, and they're not warming up. Those would be warning signs that you have frostbite. As far as hypothermia, the warning signs for that basically are excessive shivering and sort of beginning warning signs are clumsiness, slurred speech.
Miller also says it's important to limit your time outdoors, and if you do need to go outside, remember to layer your clothing. He also stressed that although there are certain groups with a greater risk for hypothermia and frostbite, it can affect anyone. So his advice is to stay aware of the symptoms so you can keep an eye on family and friends who may develop them. In studio, I'm Tiana Barnes, News Channel 3.
There are warming centers around West Michigan to keep folks out of the cold. We've got a running list of areas where you can go to warm up over the weekend. All you do is head to our website. That's WWMT.com, or you can scan the QR code on your screen right now, which will pull up the list of warming centers in our area. And you can stay on top of the winter weather in West Michigan right from your phone. All you do is download the free News Channel 3 weather app, scan the QR code on your screen there for that, or head to the App Store or Google Play and search WWMT Weather. Tonight, the state of Michigan is taking big oil to court. As our political reporter, Remington Hernandez, tells us tonight, they're being accused of working together to keep you dependent on their product.
The lawsuit, handled by outside counsel brought in by Attorney General Dana Nessel, names BP, Shell, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and industry group the American Petroleum Institute with allegations dating back decades. The lawsuit maintains oil companies furthered one of the most successful and lucrative antitrust conspiracies in U.S. history, labeling them a cartel and saying they stalled innovation on cheaper renewable energy sources.
Attorney General Nessel's case applies long-standing antitrust law designed to prevent coordinated market behavior that harms households and local economies, and she's doing her job.
The lawsuit alleges the oil industry, as early as the 1950s, learned fossil fuel consumption would hurt consumers and the environment, and then hid that information away. According to the lawsuit, the industry concluded people would favor cleaner energy and allegedly misled the public, used intimidation, and relied on trade groups to divert funds from renewable sources. The lawsuit says all of that kept prices high and hurt Michiganders at the pump and at home. Nessel says Michigan faces an affordability crisis, but argues it's not because of natural inflation. Instead, it's the, quote, greed of these corporations who prioritize their own profit and marketplace dominance over competition and consumer savings. Environmentalists agree.
Clean energy, like solar, is the cheapest and fastest way to meet the growing energy demand that we have in this country. And the advancement of this clean energy technology is a direct threat to the fossil fuel industry's profits. So why they colluded? They see the writing on the wall.
The industry responding to the lawsuit, Chevron calling it baseless and pointing to similar cases that were dismissed in other states. They add that the suit, quote, ignores the fact that Michigan is highly dependent on oil and gas to support the state's automakers and workers. API calls it a coordinated campaign against an industry that, quote, powers everyday life, drives America's economy, and is actively reducing emissions. They feel energy policy should be handled at the federal level. Shell and BP chose not to comment, while ExxonMobil did not respond to our request. Michigan was already in court on this issue, sued by the Trump administration back in May in anticipation of this lawsuit. Attorney General Pam Bondi at that time said that lawsuits like this are burdensome and threaten American energy independence as well as national security. In Lansing, I'm Remington Hernandez reporting.
All right, coming up on News Channel 3 on this Friday, we continue our Waste Watch series, how some lawmakers in Lansing are trying to be more transparent when it comes to spending.
Hey, partner, please don't call me that.
CIA, new series CBS Monday, February 23rd.
Is hard water taking its toll around your house? Gordon Water Systems can help with a Kinetico non-electric water softener.
No more spots